Hello everyone, Denise here. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful cloth. This is the Johnny Appleseed cloth. This is the Paying It Forward Friday stitch for December. This is project worked flat. So you can make blankets, scarves, fingerless gloves that you sew up the side, any hat that you would make flat and then sew up, cowls made flat and sewn up, any project worked flat you can use this stitch for. So let's get started. So the materials you will need is any cotton yarn and any hook that you desire. I say cotton because it is the best for cloth material. So this is, I love this cotton. This is a Hobby Lobby cotton yarn, and it is one of my all-time favorites. This is Color Sage, 3.5 ounces, 100 grams, 180 yards, 165 meters. It is 100% cotton and it's a medium 4. It calls for an I or a 5.5 mm hook, and that is what I have right here. This is one of my all-time favorite cotton yarns ever. Excellent drape to this, excellent usability as far as gifting cloths, especially if you're making the face pads that I brought to you last month in a tutorial. This is perfect for gifting. It is super duper soft. Okay, so starting with our yarn and our hook, we are going to chain multiples of 2 plus 1. So however wide you want your project to be, chain a multiple of 2 and then add 1. I want my washcloth about 8 inches wide. That's the size that I like, so I'm just going to chain some here. So my chain is a little over 8 inches and it will shrink up when we start the patterning. So we are going to put a single crochet in the third chain from the hook. So 1, 2, and 3. Single crochet. And we're going to put a stitch marker right there where our previous chains that we skipped over made a stitch. Okay, we're going to single crochet all the way down this row. I'll meet back up with you in just a moment. At the end of our row 1, we're going to chain 1 and we're going to turn, and we're going to mark that very first chain 1 because that's going to be a stitch. So try to get your stitch marker around those 2 loops. Now we're not going to go into this very first single crochet, but in the next one we're going to do a back loop single crochet. So you have a back loop and a front loop. We're going into this back one here, doing a single crochet. Next stitch, we're going into our front loop, not the back one, the front, and doing a single crochet. We're going to alternate that all the way down our row. Back loop, single crochet, front loop, single crochet, back loop, front loop. I will meet back up with you when we are to the end of this row. All right, we're to the end of our row. We have our stitch marker marking our stitch here, and we need to finish with a back loop single crochet. So the back loop of that stitch there, single crochet. Take your stitch marker out, chain 1 and turn, Now we're going to do the same thing this row. We're going to put our stitch marker right here. Not going into that first stitch here. In the next one, a back loop, single crochet. And then next stitch, front loop, single crochet. Next one, back. We're going to alternate that all the way to the end of the row, and I'll meet back up with you in just a moment. Okay, we're to our last stitch again, and we need to do a back loop, single crochet. So back loop, single crochet. Take the stitch marker out, and that is our repeat. We're going to keep doing that row over and over and over. Chain one, turn your work, mark your stitch. If you go in both of those loops, it's very easy to identify. You have a front and a back there. Always ignore this first one and go into the next one. Back loop, single crochet. Next stitch, front loop, single crochet. And then keep alternating back, front, back, front. Last stitch, back loop, single crochet. Chain one, turn, put your marker around those two loops of your chain one, and then repeat. Keep working your piece until you get to the measurement that you desire, going up, and I'll meet back up with you once we are done with the size for the border. So I'll see you in a minute. How I check my cloths, I take one corner, I fold it up to this corner. If they match, then it's a square. So if they don't match, pull this up, then I know I have to do a row or so more. So could I do another row? Definitely could do another row. If you want to double make sure that you have a square, you can always measure it. 7 inches by 6.5. So I will do another row, and then I will get back to the edging. All right, so I'm just going to do a simple edging on my cloth. I'm going to chain one here. I'm going to turn my work and go down the edge, this edge. I like to do 3 stitches on each corner, but I'm going to start here and go into this first space here and do 2 single crochets. Then as you look down the work, you're going to see a tiny space. I'm putting 2 single crochets in each of those spaces. See them? 2 single crochets each space. Do this corner now. I'm going to put 3 single crochets in that corner stitch. We're on one of our ends here. Gonna do a single crochet in each stitch. 3 in the corner, same with this side. I'm going to do 2 single crochets in each one of the spaces that you can see there. Three in our corner stitch, one single crochet in each stitch across our last edge here. To the corner stitch, 1, 2, 3, and a slip stitch into the next stitch that I made, and in the next one after that, and then I'm going to cut my yarn and fasten off. And there you have it. This cloth is completed. I love this textured stitch. It's very nice. It does have beautiful drape to it. This cotton is beautiful for draping as well. It would make a great garment. I think as a scarf it would be nice and squishy, especially with a bulky weight yarn. I think if you used a variegated yarn, the texture might get lost a little bit in it. So keep that in mind, but you will see it. It just won't be as prominent as it is in this cloth. I haven't put the edging on it, but I have made one in, this is yarn that I received from a yarn swap. This one doesn't have the edging on it, but you can see with a different yarn, this one is less drapey of a cotton. So I think with a DK weight yarn and some more work put into it, you could have a gorgeous garment made out of this stitch. And blankets too as well. I think blankets would be wonderful in this. It does have more weight and heft than a normal single crochet, but it has the movement, so it has the comfortability factor as well. The stitch is a stitch that I found in the, I purchased a Lion brand yarn book recently. This was on their website. It was on sale. This is their book, their original book that they had reprinted. And it has a lot of stuff in here. It has stitches in here, and that is what I sort of got this idea from. I took their idea and I revamped it a bit, the way they did their stitch. The copyright on this is 1916. So I love books like this. I love vintage books. There's patterns in here. You can find this book on their website. But this stitch was called, I think it was called the Appleseed stitch. Let me find it. There's a lot of different names for stitches in here that aren't the same names now that I know that they're called. Yeah, this was called the Appleseed stitch. I did mine a little different, so mine's sort of a variation on the Appleseed stitch. I revamped it so that it was the same every row that you're crocheting. So the Appleseed stitch, you could end on different stitches. Every row on our cloth, we ended with a back loop single crochet. And in the book, it says that you could end on either or. So I revamped it so it would be easier. But it's a very cool book. It has a lot of vintage patterns in here, knit and crocheting. Very cool. It's just a very cool keepsake type of book. And they have knitting stitches as well. It wasn't very much money because it was on one of their sales. But I mean, if you are into older crocheting and knitting books, this is a great find. So take a look at Lion Brand's website for that. The washcloth is something that you could make blankets, scarves. You could do fingerless gloves just by doing exactly what we just did. And then sewing up the seam, giving your thumb a hole to come out of. And that would be gorgeous. I love this. I love this so much. I love textured stitches. They are the favorite of mine of all stitches in crocheting, is the textured ones. So you could do blankets, scarves, any hat that you would seam up that works flat, any fingerless gloves. This could be a nice pot holder. Just make it smaller and tighter with a tighter hook. Smaller hook would make it tighter. So take care, everyone. Until next time, guys.